Good afternoon. I'm Caitlin Matson-Levy, and this is the Green Room on the Classical Cafe. We are joined today by Dr. Mark Lucas, who is responsible for bringing the Messiah Festival of the Arts to Lindsborg. Every year, he is professor at Bethany. Hello, Mark.
How are you today?
Well, I'm very well. It's exciting to think about this year's Messiah Festival, considering how pared down and
hmm
bare-boned it's had to be and virtual.
Yeah, we did it. We did it the last 2 years, and we did it safely, and no, cases traced to us or anything like that. So, but we were happy to be able to keep that streak going for 140 years.
Tell us all about what's happening.
So this year's theme is the art of servant leadership, which means, I think what I like to do is read you a little quote from one of my colleagues here at Bethany, who has her master's in servant leadership, Linda Ball. And she said it this way: integrity, influence, community. These are the key elements of servant leadership. The arts exemplify servant leadership. Through the integrity of their work or performances, artists influence people emotionally, politically, and spiritually. Artists create community by the very nature of their work as it draws people together around a common element. So servant leadership is one of the core values at Bethany. And we just felt like this year, especially coming off of COVID,
Yeah.
what better way than to acknowledge and honor those people who do for others. And so each of our elements, at first we were like, oh, okay, should we have certain things that exemplify servant leadership? And then we realized, well, everything we do already exemplifies that. So let's just point it out.
You have so many events going on the week leading up to Easter, and the culmination of the Messiah Festival of the Arts is the performance of Handel's Messiah. But there are things happening a few days before. There's the Bach St. Matthew Passion. Just very, very briefly, kind of give us the highlights of that weekend.
So we really have two weekends. We have Oratorio weekend, which is Good Friday with the Passion, and followed by Easter Sunday with Handel's Messiah. We've sung Messiah. We performed it. This will be year 141. Started rehearsals in December of 1881, and it was some of the first Swedish the townspeople learned. We've done the Bach since 1929, which at the time they thought was the 200th anniversary of the premiere. Turns out it was 1727, but and we have, like you said, a number of other things. Everything from a bicycle rodeo for kids on the previous weekend. See, the previous weekend now is something different, and this year we're doing Godspell.
Mhm.
So we've got two performances of Godspell on Friday, April 8th. No, sorry. Saturday, April 9th, and Sunday, April 10th. Yep, Saturday and Sunday. Because Friday night is our jazz walk in downtown Lindsborg, which is very cool. Jazz walk is when we have, it's almost like a pub crawl for jazz. There's a small ensemble at one of the coffee shops, another small ensemble at another coffee shop, and then they do their thing for a while, and then they all get in the middle of Main Street and do a Bourbon Street type journey down to the
Oh,
performance venues.
I'm going to that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm
And
sold.
what's better is during that time, there's also the Makers Street Art Walk. And so I think it's once a month on Fridays. The city of Lindsborg, which has so many arts, involved people. They do a
Yes.
Maker's Street, and so there'll be a different theme. And I don't know what the theme is for this one, but every business is open from 5 to 8 p.m. on Friday, April 8th. And then it culminates with this jazz walk. So that's the weekend prior to what I call Oratorio weekend.
Basically, the entire town of Lindsborg comes alive with the arts in these
Yeah.
couple of weekends. Let's listen to just a little bit of the Messiah and come back and talk about specifically the Messiah, about your
Okay.
choir, the Oratorio choir, and everything like that, and the schedule for the Messiah and also the Bach. Okay, so this is the Philadelphia Orchestra conducted by Eugene Ormandy. We're just going to listen to a tiny little bit. This is the Pastoral Symphony, and I will be back with Dr. Mark Lucas. Eugene Ormandy conducting the Philadelphia Orchestra, the beautiful Pastoral Symphony from Handel's Messiah. We're talking with Dr. Mark Lucas from Bethany and from the Messiah Festival of the Arts, which is coming up sooner than you would think. You think it couldn't possibly be close to Easter, but it
Oh, I
is.
know it is.
You
Believe me.
feel it. You're
Yeah.
feeling that pressure. Well, let's talk about the Messiah itself.
Yeah,
Um, First of all, would you please tell us the day, the time, the place?
absolutely. It's Easter Sunday at 3 p.m. So Sunday, April 17th at 3 p.m. It will be live streamed. But we'd also like people to come in person this year. And right now, we're following the CDC guidelines, so masks are optional. But I think we'll probably still have the chorus masking. I just haven't heard enough science specifically on singing to warrant taking the
Right.
masks off at this point. But and this year,
It's basically just, constant spitting in the air
right,
anyway.
I know, right? If you're doing it right.
Right.
But this year, my colleague Keith Dodson, Dr. Keith Dodson, our director of instrumental studies, is going to conduct Messiah. I've been doing all the choral rehearsals, and now Keith's going to come in and conduct his first Messiah, and we're excited for him.
Well, that's exciting. That is his very first Messiah,
Yeah.
and what a first one to be
Right.
conducting. Now, your Messiah chorus is made up of the community of
Mhm.
Lindsborg, and it has such deep roots, and it means so much to people. I had the pleasure of being there last year for the Messiah, and what touched me so deeply was just the camaraderie, the community, the love that was there, in the chorus and the orchestra.
It's people ask me to describe it a lot, and I can't. I mean, you can't describe it. It's everyone does Messiah, okay? It's the one that makes, it's what pays the bills, right? For a lot of musicians. But the way we do it here, not necessarily the way we do it musically, but the way we do it as in it's an event that involves everyone, whether you're an usher or an audience member, and it's been that way for 141 years. It's so ingrained in our community that it's really a bucket list item for people to come perform in, which anyone can each year, as long as you come and as long as you can sing. You don't have to be Pavarotti, but you have to be able to
Match pitch.
right,
Yeah.
right. And then we'll find you someone to sit by who's probably sung for 35, 40 years, and you'll learn it. And it'll, our rehearsals normally start in late January. So, and everything can be found at messiahfestival.org. So
messiahfestival.org.
yeah.
I remember seeing a gentleman who had a Messiah score that he had used for maybe 4 decades, and he had everybody sign the inside
Mhm.
cover.
That was Bob Allstedt, one of our longest standing members. I think sadly, he passed away last year. That last year was his last Messiah, but he had been singing, I think, for 57 years. And we have a number of people that have sung for 50 years.
Yeah, and community members who come back. I think Andy Bishop.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have, Lindsborg in general has had a ton of really top level musicians for a long time, and hobbyist musicians, so yeah, whenever we bring people back home like Andy Bishop or other people, this year, for example, we're having a band director workshop, and Ian Schwint is do you know Ian?
I know that Schwint family, absolutely.
Well,
you know what?
Ian,
I
Ian
went to band camp with the Schwint boys.
There you go.
Every year.
Well, Ian is coming back. He's one of the most successful band directors in all of Florida. And by the way, Keith Dodson, who's conducting Messiah this year, who grew up in Florida and went to college in Florida, student taught with Ian.
Oh, what a small world.
It is a small world.
Everything's connected. Music just connects everybody. It's like this huge spider web. All right. So for all the information, for the full schedule, details about, tickets for the Messiah, exactly what's happening, what is the website?
It's www.messiahfestival.org.
So much theater, art, music happening.
Yeah, we haven't even touched hardly on any of the visual art things. I mean, there's a ton of things. So
yes, and of course it culminates with the Bach The Passion according to St. Matthew in Presser Hall on Friday, April 15th at 7:30. And then the Messiah is on Easter Sunday.
And most everything is free. Godspell, Bach, and Handel cost money, and tickets can be found at messiahfestival.org. We would highly encourage people to especially get their Godspell tickets. I'm fairly certain those performances will sell out, and we don't want to turn anyone away at the door. So we encourage people to get their tickets online in advance or by calling our office, 785-227-3380, extension 8235.
Dr. Mark Lucas, thank you for being with us today. And it's really exciting to think about how this incredible festival can return to like its full form after a couple of years of just having to
Sometime when
scale
we have
back.
more time, I'd like to describe to you we're putting together a 10-year strategic plan for the festival called Messiah 150, so that in year 2031, when we're on our 150th year, we'll be in an even better standing with participants and things like that. So
I love it. Well, thank you so much, and have a really wonderful couple weeks finishing up rehearsals and getting everything, organized and ready to go. I know it's a hectic time, but I know it's a labor of love.
yes, well, thanks so much for having me.